gut-brain axis. Ooh, what's that? I want one of those. Well, stay tuned for this next episode of Digest This.
Welcome to Digest This, the show that helps you revolutionize your digestive health. Here are your hosts, Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato.
Hello, and welcome to Digest This. I'm Dr. Liz Cruz, and I've got Tina Nunziato sitting right here by my side. I'm just kind of laughing inside of me because I'm thinking about the fact that one of our daughters just recently told me that she watched the podcast, our YouTube, and that she just wanted to like scream and turn it off.
That it was so cringy. I was laughing.
Mainly because of our little dancing. Yeah, you know, I mean, she's in competition dance, so she's a little bit judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit
Of dancers, of other
She's got
dancers.
very high standards, and she just felt that our little bouncing around for our intro just was not cutting it.
Sorry, we're low tech around here. Okay, we are bringing you all of this.
Oh my
low
goodness!
tech.
I just
All right?
laugh. I just laugh. But anyways, she said she was able to make it through the podcast. Welcome. We're so happy that you're here. If you are one of our regular listeners, thank you so much for being on this journey with us. We love you. We appreciate you. And if you're a new listener, we love you. We appreciate you. And we appreciate that you're taking the time to hang out with us for 15, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so this was a topic that was actually suggested by one of our listeners. So if you're listening to this, thank you very much for your suggestion. And I know that you made the suggestion a few weeks ago, and we did promise this a couple weeks ago, and we're finally getting around to it. And I got to be honest with you, and I've been telling Tina that I've been a little bit nervous about doing this because this is a big topic. Mm-hmm. The gut-brain axis, the brain-gut axis. I mean, this is a big topic. There's a lot of... I mean, it could be kind of a complicated topic with a lot of medical jargon with it, and so I think
we try to break it down.
We try to break it down, and so right. Believe me, I've been trying. I mean, you know, you hear about this stuff, you read about it when you're going through your training and everything, but it's not like something that you're constantly, you know, sitting around and discussing with other people. And so I thought, number one, what a great topic, what a great suggestion. So thank you very much. And number two, you know, I was just trying to figure out a way to simplify it and to make it easy. And so please bear with me. I may not do it justice, but we're going to do our best and jump into it. And Tina kept saying, don't stress about it. We can spread it out over 2 or 3 podcasts,
we can make it longer if we want to.
So we'll see. Let's see how it goes. We'll start talking about it now, and you know, if we need to do another podcast on it in another week, then we'll do that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So what is the gut-brain axis? You know, basically, it's the communication between your brain and your gut. Okay, and there have been a lot of references to the gut as being the second brain. All right, but who knows? It may actually be in charge completely. But it's basically this back and forth communication that takes place. It's a very real thing. The nervous system is definitely connected. Well, the nervous system is connected everywhere. Mm-hmm. But as in regards to the gut, there's definitely a lot of communication going on. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know this, but the gut has its own nervous system. It's called the enteric nervous system, and I think we have talked about that.
Well, that's what I think is key, right? Is that it has its own nervous system, because the brain, obviously, the brain has to talk to all your organs.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's how we function. That's how all your organs function. But there's just this special thing about the gut that's different than your other organs that I think has a lot to do with having its own nervous system.
And it's called the enteric nervous system. Mm-hmm. And if you read some of the literature, and I was even on the National medical library, looking up some articles there, and you've got the CNS, which is the central nervous system. You've got the ENS, which is the enteric nervous system, enteric meaning of the intestine. Okay. And then you've got, and some of you may have heard of the vagus nerve. Okay. Because the vagus nerve is the cranial nerve number 10. And it basically extends from the brainstem to your intestine. Okay. So you may have heard of people getting like having this vagal response, okay, where they get lightheaded, they get sweaty, they get a little bit clammy, their blood pressure falls a little bit, your heart rate goes up a little bit, and it's this connection of the vagus nerve with the intestine. In fact, sometimes it happens like when I'm in somebody's colon and I've distended it with air, because we have to open it up with air. And sometimes just with distending it with air, or even the tugging of the colon as I'm pushing the camera, sometimes the patient's heart rate will actually fall. Okay, will actually fall. And the anesthesiologist will tell me, hey, you got to stop, hold on. And that's a vagal response. Okay. I mean, typically once I stop pushing or I take out some of the air, then their heart rate
has its own brain.
Yeah, it does. It's amazing.
That's cool.
And actually, I think I even said the heart rate will go up earlier, but actually it falls.
Goes down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, it goes down.
So anyways, so the gut brain axis, definitely a lot of communication going on with a lot of chemicals, a lot of neurotransmitters, one of the big ones being like the GABA, which is a huge neurotransmitter. You've got other neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, and in fact, about 95% of serotonin is actually made in the gut. Okay, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's made in the gut. Dopamine, made also. Some of it is made in the gut also. I mean, there's like multiple neurotransmitters, okay? But the big ones that are very famous, that a lot of people know of or are familiar with, you've got the dopamine, the serotonin, the GABA, and guess what? The micro, oh my goodness, now I'm getting stuck with this. The bacteria, okay? The microbiome in your gut that consists not only of bacteria, but you've got fungi, virus, candida. I mean, it's so extensive and such an amazing ecosystem that you have in your intestine of this microbiome that's going on, and that has a lot to do with the gut brain axis. Okay, so it's amazing, and it's so incredible, the balance and how it can get so off balance. Okay, and this is very important because this definitely impacts on our emotions, on our moods. Okay, there's a lot out there even suggesting suggesting that anxiety, stress, certain mood disorders, depression, autism, that all of that is tied in with what's going on in our intestine with this microbiome, and then the communication between our gut and our brain. So in the United States, there's a lot in regards to the diet, okay? And there's an acronym called SAD.
The SAD diet.
Okay, the SAD diet.
Standard American diet.
The Standard American diet, okay? Which consists of a lot of processed food, junk food, sugar, and all of this, which we're putting into our body. Okay, so you've got, when your body starts to get backed up, and we can handle it okay when we're younger, but as we're getting older, it gets harder and harder for our body to process this, and our body is aching for gut healing foods, and we're feeding it sugar and fat, and processed chemicals, pesticides, GMOs, I mean, you name it. And our body, it's really hard as we're getting older for our body to process this, okay? And our body gets backed up with all these toxins, and now you've got bacteria feeding off of sugar and fat, and it definitely affects this whole thing with these neurotransmitters, okay? And you've got because there's no good nutrients feeding the cells, you start getting these cells, these cells that are dying off, creating inflammation in your gut.
Or sick cells.
Cells.
And so like these cells are, because everything you feed yourself is what builds cells.
Exactly.
Right? So if you're feeding yourself bad stuff, then you're going to produce bad cells that don't function at high capacity. And when you have multiple cells that aren't functioning at high capacity, makes it really hard for these cells to communicate, right? So that's the conversation between the gut and the brain. The cells can do it.
Right.
It's like a cell who hasn't been to school versus a cell who has been to school.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And so the food that you eat is directly related to how healthy your cells are and how well they can communicate.
Exactly. So as a result, you're not, your body, I mean, you have all this inflammation going on. Your body is trying to heal itself. You've got, you've got cortisol, which is our stress hormone, which is off the charts, because we're also so stressed out. And as a result, it's not able to produce the hormones that you need, the happy, feel-good hormones, serotonin, dopamine, the reward hormones, the GABA. So as a result, you've got like this really big mess going on in your body. You're not getting the feel-good hormones that your body needs. You've got the inflammation, your body's trying to heal that. So there's a lot of chaos going on. And so no wonder we're not feeling good. You're seeing all ages of people that are coming in not feeling well, and
they seem to be getting younger and younger.
They do.
Honestly,
they do.
Like, we're seeing 18, 19-year-olds coming in with the same issues that we're used to seeing in 40 and 50-year-olds. It's
Absolutely.
crazy because
Absolutely.
it's literally the generation that's grown up on the fast food, the specialty coffees, all this stuff, and we're just eating such a nutritionally depleted diet that our bodies are basically starving for food. And I've had so many patients and clients tell me that, my doctor told me that my diet has nothing to do with it. Like, that breaks my heart, because your diet has everything to do with what you're experiencing in life today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It has everything to do, because you've got all these bacteria, trillions of bacteria of micro, in your microbiome. And like I said, it's more than just bacteria. I mean, you got the candida, the fungi, you got virus. But anyways, let's focus on bacteria though. You've got all this bacteria that is just feeding off, having a feast off the sugar, off the fats, but that is not doing what it needs to be doing, okay, to help us heal our gut, to help with the production of these neurotransmitters, which we so desperately need, and so you have people that are coming in that are sad, that are depressed, that are, that are so stressed out, that are anxious, have so much anxiety, okay? And you wonder why. So, and the other thing I wanted to throw in there is IBS, which is a big one that we see as a gastroenterology practice. So what can we do? Well, there are antidepressants out there. There's anti-anxiety medicines, right?
Yes.
And what a lot of these medicines are trying to do is trying to help rebalance the chemical imbalance in your body, because you're not making these, the serotonin, the dopamine that you need. And so let's get you on a medicine to try to get these chemicals balanced and try to get you feeling better. Our goal, though, is to try to keep people off of these medicines, okay? And as a gastroenterologist, I have fought through the years to avoid having to give someone an antidepressant for their IBS, even though if you look at our literature, there is a lot to support giving an antidepressant. Our goal is to try to do this naturally, try to get people eating better, all right? And I think I'm actually going over my time. we may need to actually do a second podcast on this. Actually, let's do
part one.
Part one. This is going to be part one, and we're going to do a second podcast, and we're going to focus on what can we do on a more holistic, from a more holistic standpoint to try to get your gut healthy. I mean, that's our whole mission here. That's what we've been trying to do here for years in our practice and with these podcasts, trying to teach how we can do it on a more holistic platform to get you healthy, to get your gut healthy so that you are feeling better, so that you're making these neurotransmitters that you need to be making. And so, you will be healthy, your gut can heal itself, okay? Because you can give your body what it needs to be healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Amen.
All right. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and bring this to a close. And then our next podcast will be part 2 on what we can do to get this gut-brain axis healthier. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next podcast.
Thank you for joining Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato. To learn more about their revolutionary products and services, go online to www.drlizcruz.com.